Behind the smiling crew members, gourmet buffets, and Broadway-style shows, there's an entirely different world passengers never get to see. This world is filled with secrets that cruise lines don't want you to know. From hidden cameras to rigged casinos, even longtime cruisers are shocked when they find out what's really going on below deck. If you're not careful, one of these secrets could quietly ruin your entire vacation without you realizing it until it's too late. In this video, we're diving straight into 9 cruise ship secrets that only former crew members dare to reveal. Whether you're planning your first cruise or you're a seasoned traveler who thinks they've seen it all, what you're about to learn might change the way you cruise forever. We'll cover everything from which rooms crew members would never sleep in to how you're being watched without even knowing, and even the truth behind those dreamy-sounding excursions that seem just a little too perfect. But don't worry, it's not all bad. We'll end with one heartwarming reason why former workers say cruising is still worth it and why many of them would do it all over again. So grab your boarding pass and let's head straight into the part of cruise life they never show you in the brochures. You might think you're walking into a floating version of Las Vegas, but former cruise workers say you'd better think again. One dealer confessed that the odds on cruise ship slot machines are often worse than the ones you'd find in a rundown gas station, especially when you're out in international waters. And unlike in Vegas, where casinos are regulated down to the decimal, cruise lines operate under looser maritime laws that allow them to tweak the payout percentages without telling anyone. One former casino staffer revealed that machines could be remotely adjusted to tighten up when the ship needs to hit revenue targets, often right after a big promotion or lucky streak. Why does this matter? Because thousands of passengers walk into cruise casinos every night thinking they're getting a fair shot. But in reality, the house advantage is even higher than you'd expect. Sure, someone wins the jackpot every once in a while, but the real money comes from repeat players who keep feeding the machines, unaware they're playing against tougher odds than back home. If you've ever wondered why cruise ship casinos don't always advertise their payout rates, now you know. Here's the fix. If you're going to play, treat it like entertainment, not a financial strategy. Set a strict limit. Stick to lower stakes. Table games where odds are easier to calculate, and avoid slots altogether unless you're okay with throwing that money away for fun. And if you think that's wild, wait until you find out what the staff knows about you before you even say hello. That's coming up next, and it's a little creepy. Think you're just another anonymous face in the crowd? Think again. Former crews. Staff have revealed that the crew often knows way more about you than you'd expect. And it starts the moment you book your trip. When you swipe your cruise card, the system tracks everything. Your purchases, your dining habits, and even which areas of the ship you spend the most time in. One former bartender said he was instructed to memorize the names and drink preferences of top-spending passengers before the first night even began. That's not hospitality, that's strategy. There's even a thing called passenger profiling. The crew is trained to observe behaviors that might indicate high spending potential, complaint risk, or even a chance of causing onboard problems. This info can be quietly passed among departments, from the casino to the spa to guest services. So, you're getting a custom-tailored experience without even realizing it. Some crew members even confess to keeping personal notes about passengers who were rude, demanding, or overly flirtatious, warning others behind the scenes to steer clear or handle with caution. Why should you care? Because while this hyper-attentiveness can sometimes make your cruise feel extra polished, it also means you're never truly off the radar. If you have a complaint or issue, it may already be colored by an unofficial reputation you didn't know you had. Want to stay on the cruise good side? Be polite, tip fairly, and don't underestimate how small gestures go a long way. You never know when that kindness might land you a surprise room upgrade or priority service. Next up, what if we told you not everything on your plate was made from scratch or even fresh? Brace yourself for secret number 3. That gourmet buffet might look like it was crafted by a team of world-class chefs working around the clock. But former cruise kitchen staff say the truth is a lot more processed. One ex-line cook admitted that nearly 60% of the food served on board, especially at the buffet and in-room dining, arrives pre-cooked, vacuum-sealed, or frozen. While the presentation is polished, much of the food is mass-prepped on shore weeks in advance, stored in massive walk-in freezers, and then reheated or dressed up to look cruise fancy. That lobster tail? It might have been frozen solid just hours before it hit your plate. Now, to be fair, this isn't just about cutting corners. Cruise ships feed thousands of people 3 to 5 times a day in limited space and with strict timing, so efficiency matters. But it also means that not everything is as gourmet as it appears. Crew members especially warn about items like scrambled eggs at the buffet, which are often powdered or from liquid cartons, and pastries that are pre-baked, frozen, then warmed up daily. So what can you do? Eat smarter. Stick to specialty restaurants on board where chefs prep food more freshly. Look for stations where items are made to order, like omelets, stir-fry, or pasta bars. These give you the best shot at fresher ingredients and better taste. But if that food secret made your stomach turn, wait until you hear what happens when something goes missing on board. And no, it's not always the passenger who gets blamed. You might assume that if something goes missing on a cruise ship, say, your wallet, your jewelry, or even a suitcase, security will swoop in like a crime scene unit and launch a full investigation. But according to former crew members, that's not usually the case. One former security officer admitted that unless it's a serious or violent incident, most passenger theft is handled discreetly and often swept under the rug. Why? Because cruise lines are obsessed with protecting their image. A public scandal or loud accusation could disrupt the mood on board and damage future bookings. In many cases, passengers report stolen items and are quietly advised to double-check their cabin or file a claim later with their travel insurance. If the missing item isn't highly valuable, or there's no obvious suspect caught on surveillance, the issue often fizzles out behind the scenes. Some crew members have even confessed that there are known problem passengers who frequently cause drama or falsely report items just to get compensation or perks. That makes it harder to tell who's genuine and easier for small-time thieves to slip through. So how do you protect yourself? Use the in-room safe for anything valuable. Don't leave bags unattended in public spaces, and avoid flashing expensive items like watches, cameras, or luxury purses. And here's a tip most new cruisers don't know. Photograph the contents of your suitcase before boarding. If something does go missing, you'll have proof for your claim. Next up, it turns out some excursions are not only overpriced, but sometimes dangerous. Let's talk about what former crew wish every passenger knew before leaving the ship. You step off the ship excited for an island adventure, maybe ziplining through a jungle, swimming with dolphins, or exploring ancient ruins. But behind the glossy brochures and smiling guides, there's a side of cruise excursions that former crew members say passengers rarely see. One ex-tour coordinator shared that not all excursions are vetted equally, and some approved vendors have spotty safety records or have cut corners to save costs. In fact, a few even operate without full insurance or trained staff, especially in developing countries where regulations are loose. Even worse, not all excursions are run by the cruise line itself. Many are outsourced to third-party vendors, meaning if something goes wrong, like an injury or getting left behind, the cruise company might dodge responsibility. One former assistant cruise director recalled an incident where a passenger slipped on an unmarked trail during a jungle tour. The cruise quietly refunded the ticket but made no public acknowledgement, and the passenger had to deal with medical bills on their own. So, what's the safer option? Stick with excursions booked directly through the cruise line when you can, and always read reviews online before confirming. Ask if the vendor carries liability insurance, and don't be afraid to walk away from anything that feels unorganized or rushed. Also, consider planning your own day if you're visiting a safe, walkable port. Sometimes a self-guided beach day is cheaper, calmer, and safer than a chaotic excursion. Coming up next, want to know why your cruise card sometimes stops working at just the wrong time? there's a secret system behind that too. That little plastic cruise card you carry around, it's not just for opening your cabin door or buying drinks. According to former cruise staff, it's actually a powerful tracking device that monitors almost everything you do on board and even off the ship. Every time you tap it for a purchase, use it at the casino, scan it when leaving or reboarding the ship, or book a service, it logs data into a central system. That system tells the crew who's spending money, who's always late back from excursions, and even who's causing trouble. One former guest services agent shared that during a single cruise, they flagged a passenger who had been making excessive complaints, leaving unpaid bar tabs, and skipping scheduled payments for onboard services. All of this information was pulled instantly from their cruise card history and passed along to various departments without the guest ever knowing. Some high rollers are given extra perks without asking, while others might find their account quietly frozen, limiting what they can book or purchase. Why does this matter? Because the cruise card isn't just about convenience, it shapes how the ship sees you. Whether you're seen as a VIP or a potential problem affects your treatment, your access to perks, and even how crew interact with you. So, here's the smart move. Treat your cruise card like a digital passport. Be respectful with it. Track your own spending using the cruise app or guest services, and if something doesn't feel right, like being blocked from a service, don't hesitate to ask why. Next, we're heading below deck to uncover what life is really like for the crew. And trust us, it's not the paradise you imagine. You might picture the crew relaxing in comfy lounges or enjoying their own slice of paradise after a shift, but former cruise workers paint a very different picture. Beneath the sparkling decks where guests sip cocktails and lounge by the pool, the crew lives in cramped windowless cabins, often with barely enough room to stretch. One former crew member described sharing a shoebox-sized cabin with 3 other people, rotating sleep schedules like submariners just to make it work. Crew quarters are typically located on the lowest decks of the ship in the areas passengers never see. There's no ocean view, limited privacy, and long, grueling hours. Most work 10 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, with contracts lasting 6 to 9 months straight. And while some cruise lines provide decent food and basic entertainment, others cut corners. One bartender recalled nights where they'd come off a 12-hour shift to a cold meal and a broken AC unit in their shared cabin. So why bring this up? Because understanding what crew members go through makes a difference in how you treat them. These are the people who clean your room, serve your food, keep the ship spotless, and do it all with a smile, even if they haven't seen daylight in days. Want to cruise smarter? Tip generously, say thank you, and be patient. The best passengers are the ones crew remember and often reward with extra kindness. But while some secrets live below deck, others are hiding in plain sight, especially when it comes to the ship's free perks. Let's dig into that next. Free champagne at the art auction, a complimentary spa consultation, an exclusive cocktail tasting at no cost. Sounds great, right? But former cruise employees say these freebies often come with hidden strings, and it's all part of a psychological playbook. One entertainment staffer revealed that most free perks on board are strategically designed to get you through the door so you'll feel pressured to buy something. Whether it's overpriced art, spa upgrades, or specialty wine packages, the goal is simple. Turn curiosity into commission. At the art auction, for example, guests are lured in with bubbly, given an exciting performance from the auctioneer, and often caught off guard by high-pressure sales tactics. One couple reportedly walked away with a $9,000 painting they thought was just a fun souvenir, only to regret it by the time they got home. In the spa, the free consultation is often used to upsell detox wraps, anti-aging creams, or even shady weight loss programs. And those drink samplings, they often come with a hard push to buy the full bottle, which can be triple the price you'd pay on land. So, how do you protect yourself? Enjoy the perks, but set a mental limit. Take the champagne, sit through the pitch, but don't feel guilty walking away. Remember, you're not being rude, you're being smart. Now let's wrap up with something lighter, because not everything the crew reveals is dark. Sometimes it's just fun insider knowledge. While passengers crowd the buffet, hunt for open loungers, or wait in line for shows, former cruise workers say the ship has hidden gems that most guests never discover. These are quiet lounges tucked behind art galleries, scenic decks only accessible from side stairwells, and secret viewing spots crew whisper about among themselves. One ex-entertainment host shared that her favorite place to watch the sunset wasn't the top deck. It was a nearly empty nook near the helipad that only a few curious passengers ever found. Then there are quiet corners in libraries or observation lounges where you can sip coffee and read without interruption. No loud music, no kids running around. Some ships even have backdoor routes to the buffet or pools that skip the crowds entirely if you know where to look. Former crew members often make friends with regular cruisers who explore and stumble on these spots, and once you know, it changes the entire vibe of your trip. Want to find them? Here's the trick. Befriend the crew. Bartenders, entertainment staff, and room stewards love to share little-known tips with friendly guests. Ask politely, and you might get the inside scoop on where to catch a quiet sunrise, or a secret spot with the best view of the sail away. Now that you've seen the hidden truth behind cruise life, you're in a better position than most to cruise smart. Stay relaxed and enjoy the perks without falling for the traps. If you made it this far, type cruise secrets in the comments to let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you're always one step ahead on your next trip. Here's to sailing smarter, treating the crew kinder, and making your next cruise your best one yet. See you on board.